Life is a movie, and the secret to having a worth-watching movie is taking full control, being the author of the script, the director of the action, and the producer of every scene. While these weren't the exact same words of my guest today, that was definitely his message. Stoyan is a great public speaker, a former movie producer, and a podcaster who interviewed over 200 entrepreneurs and C-level people. His story and his determination to overcome challenges really inspired me. Check this episode out on the Montrepreneur Podcast, and for sure, check Stoyan's podcast on mastering productivity.
Okay, great. We are online right now. Okay, Stoyan, really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for having the time.
Great to be here, man. Excited about following your journey. It's been great meeting you in Lisbon, having short but the quality time together. So I have my large cup of coffee. By the way, this type of coffee is probably because I spent quite some time in Denmark, and people in Scandinavia love to drink their coffee like a filter coffee. So it looks like a lot, but
question,
it looks like a lot, but it's actually not. It's not strong, but it's a very nice brand. So I'm ready, man. I'm ready to start the week with you.
Okay, great. Let's dive into it. Great, Stoyan. It was really a pleasure meeting you like in Lisbon a month ago, as you said. I really like the story you shared. You had like a personal transformation. You worked like for like restaurants, like for someone else, like for a very long time. Then you decided like to make a extreme transformation. Went into many industries, failed like many times, but kept trying. And then ended up like having a video editing company for a Hollywood movie. And then ended up like having your podcast, doing your public speaking. I really like your energy. So tell me about your personal story, like what's behind that?
It's a long story, man. I don't know how much time you have, but
I do.
any other story, right? But I was a mathematician. Let's start from there. So I studied mathematics in high school, and then I was looking for a university where I can apply my mathematical skills. So the first school I attended, first college, was University of Economics in Varna in Bulgaria, and I studied finance. Again, how do I apply mathematics and solve problems? Okay, finance sounds like a good thing. And then something that really changed my journey and my perspective was I decided to do a work and travel program in the US, in Massachusetts. And that was my third year in college. Went to the US, like a young guy, seeing the big world, opening his horizons. And from there, it was clear to me that I need to travel the world and I need to see places. And somewhere around that time, I also got passionate about making videos and editing videos just for fun. Me and my buddies will dress like Backstreet Boys and make a parody, or make a parody of Fear Factor, or all those kind of just for fun kind of things. Because I was attending a amateur acting drama classes. Like we will do theater and those kind of things. So I graduated. I did my bachelor degree, and it was clear I need to go abroad. So I went to Denmark, spent a couple of years attending, graduating as a master in finance, and it was very statistical, econometrical, hardcore mathematics, right? Like kind of a degree. But all my free time, I would focus on making videos and making movies and organizing film festivals. And when I was about to graduate and write my master thesis, I was kind of confused. I wasn't sure what direction should I take in life from here on, because I was quite good with finance. All my buddies found jobs in leading banks, in consulting companies like McKinsey, BCG. But my heart was in storytelling and video production. So at the end, I decided to write a master thesis. And the topic of the master thesis was producing feature films. So I kind of took the financial or business angle in the film business. That was my edge. So I became a producer, and I joined a company, a small video production company. Then 11 months later, the owner of the company couldn't keep me anymore. I felt like I found my dream job, but he couldn't keep me anymore because he couldn't afford me. And then I was devastated, and I was like, "Oh my God, what do I do?" But a couple of months later, I started my own video production company together with a Danish producer, Thomas Bo Husman. We had a great time. We've done a lot of cool things together. Um, Also, a lot of lessons. It's one thing to study in the business school, but when you get out there and become an entrepreneur, it's a completely different story, man. You know what I'm talking about. Like it's not like what they say in the books. Because I used to read all these personal development books, and they say cut the rope, it's gonna be great, and then you start your company and you realize there's a lot more difficulties, struggles. Most of the time as an entrepreneur, especially the first couple of years, you gotta do everything. You gotta do the boring stuff, and you have to do it over and over again. And you have to be at your best to be super focused. You gotta do a lot of sacrifices. So you get in there, you start learning. It was the biggest blessing, becoming an entrepreneur at this early for me age. And
How old are you? Was you?
I mean, I finished school. That would be 2000 and probably 25.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, the first few years, again, you have a lot of passion. You're so driven, but then you start learning, and at some point, I had to switch. There were many reasons for that. I shared some of the reasons also in Lisbon. Me and my co-founder, we were very different. We never ever discussed why do we do what we do, what are our values, what is the vision, where do we want to bring the company, if the company succeeds, what's happening, right? Like, what are our roles, how are they shifting? So there were many other reasons as well. We've got a big customer actually very early when we started the company, and she, we hired many people for a big project. She never paid. She left the country, left us on a loss. So there was the stress of we gotta figure out how to find money to cover up for the loss. There was the stress of I'm not really aligned. Why do I do what I do? And then there was also the other factor. I entered the industry as a producer, but what I really wanted to do is the creative stuff, to be a director, to be a storyteller. So at some point, I was 90% of the time I was the administrator of the thing. So, and at some point, I felt like I was close to a burnout, if not burnout. Like really, it was bad. Like a few years of pushing 80, 90 hours a week, and then my body couldn't take it anymore, man. Like I didn't know what to do, so I was kind of stuck. Like, what should I do? Should I close it down? But then, do I get a job? Do I start a new company? Like I wasn't able to decide. And because of all these kind of years of constantly making decisions, constantly being under stress, I remember I went to the grocery shop one day and just entered the shop, and I can't pick, man. Like I just walk around the shop. And you're like, should I get this? And I don't know. Like my body doesn't want me to make decisions. I don't know if you've been in. Like I went to have coffee with a friend, and he's like, "Hey man, let me get you a coffee. You want coffee or tea?" I'm like, "Whatever. Just take something." He's like, "But do you want
decisions?
tea?"
Yeah.
He couldn't decide, man. And I was like, I need to stop, man. I need to stop because that's not good, man. Um, so I took a week off, which turned into several weeks, and came back. And it wasn't a smooth transition. I didn't close down the company immediately, but um, I started looking around, reflecting, slow down on the business a little bit. I still had to be able to support myself. And then I took the one that you mentioned. I took a job as a dishwasher. I think I was 29 or 30 years old. Took a job as a dishwasher, um, and that was tough as well for me, as somebody who's always been hyper ambitious. Getting all these movie awards, all this kind of stuff. Like you come up with this personality and your vision about yourself, and at some point it's like, well, maybe I need to get a part-time job. So it was hard for me to say yes to it, but at some point I did. So I would work a couple of days a week in Radisson hotels. Some of you know Radisson hotels. So
Yeah, sure.
and it was tough. I tell you, it's tough. I mean, it's somebody say, yeah, dishwashing. It's not a big deal. It was tough because it was very physical. It's not like you're manually washing a few dishes. Usually we'll have these massive banquets with 1,000, 1,500 people, and it's like a couple of dishwashers. You got to clean up all the stuff, right? So sometimes you stay until 4 or 5 in the morning. It's you're completely messy and wet, and and then if you have a client that's booked you for a workshop the next day, you don't have so much time to sleep, right? So it's just go home, you sleep a few hours, and then you have to make yourself available to go to do it. So that's what I did for 11 months while I was building my speaking and consulting business, or the first steps of building this business. I would wash dishes, and I think that's one thing that fortunately early on I would read so many of these personal development books, um, and one thing I learned was you should always try to get the best out of a situation. So in this specific case, I was not supposed to talk to anybody while I was doing the dishes. So I put on headphones for 8 hours. I would listen to audiobooks. I would listen to podcasts, to Tony Robbins, Les Brown, all these kind of speakers that I wanted to be like. And yeah, it's how do I get the best out of it, right? It wasn't fun. It wasn't a great period, but it was a necessary period. And I think many entrepreneurs go through difficult periods. Many entrepreneurs have to take part-time, full-time jobs while they're building, but we don't really talk much about those kind of things. We like to look at this Revolut guy. He built a massive fintech. Okay, look at this Vivino guy. Cool, but what about the backstory, man? Do you know what these people went through? The level of execution, the level of focus, the sacrifices, the difficulties. So yeah, that's the long story short. That was 2016. I started doing these things, and I think the biggest game changer at that point was probably a little bit earlier, before even the dishwashing, was doing my first workshop / speech.
Hmm.
Mm.
Where was that?
I think it was around August or September 2016, and it was a gift from one of my coaching clients who challenged me to do my first speech, because I was afraid at the time. I would watch all these speakers. I would watch all these. I would go to all the seminars, man. Like, I've been there. Like, I've seen so much stuff. I did a coaching education, and then I came back, and I would never do it myself because, well, I'll come up with the excuse, no, I'm not ready, not now, I need to prepare better. But in reality, I think I was afraid speaking in front of people, and it was more like, am I good enough yet? What if I get found out? What if people see me, and like, what kind of fraud am I? So one of my coaching clients, we had a one-on-one session, finish up the session, but we were also kind of friends at that time. And at the end of the session, he's like, dude, how did it go with your speech? And the name of the speech I shared with him before was "Life is like a movie." Like so inspiring, man. How did they like it? And I'm like, I haven't done it yet. I was very busy. So he challenged me and said, dude, I achieved so many things thanks to you being by my side and pushing me and challenging me. But I'm going to challenge you now. I give you 30 days to do your first speech, do your first event. And if you don't do it, you have to pay £500 to an organization that you don't support, like a cause of, I don't know, extreme feminist that hates men or whatever, something, right? And then you have to post on social media about it. And I'm like, So I hang up the phone, brother, and I'm like, damn, I need to deliver. And I was busy. I have so many projects running at the time, but I'm like, you know what? I got to do it, man. So I did a event on Facebook, invited everybody, 60 people, found a location, got myself a friend of mine to host the event. I mean, and then I started practicing, man, in front of the mirror. I call my friends, hey man, come to drink coffee with me. Okay, listen to me now. I'll do this speech or this workshop. Get some feedback. Keep improving. I was nervous, man. I was scared. But the day of the event comes, and full room, people having fun, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to deliver now. So I did my thing, and they went okay. People had fun. They talked to each other. I get them in groups, get them to close their eyes and to see their future. The thing that we did in Lisbon, but first version of it, I guess. And then at the end of it, there's this girl from China that comes to me. Like she signed up for the event, and I didn't know her. And she comes to me and she shares her personal story, and she says, "This is the first time in my life somebody tells me I can be my own leader. I can show up for myself." And I come from this region, and where the structure, the societal structure is like that I'm not allowed to make decisions as a woman. My mom and dad decide for me, and when I get married, my husband will decide for me. Like all my life, I never made a decision. I was like, wow, it's crazy, man. And then she says, I came to this event, and you asked me to close my eyes and see my future, and I gotta tell you, I saw myself as a storyteller. I want to empower other women from this region, women like me, to show up for themselves, to be leaders, to make decisions, to live life on their terms. And she hugs me.
Sure.
And I'm staying with her, and she's hugging me, and the whole room. Like, imagine this scene in the movie, like slow motion, man. Like everything for me is like a slow, like all these mixed emotions. I'm like sitting there. I'm like, I wanted to survive, man. I just wanted to survive today to tell my client I did it, man. Yeah. But then for me, that was the moment that was like, dude, who are you to say you're not ready? Of course, you're not the best speaker. It's your first speech, man. You can expect that. But the problem is, I was making it about me. What do people think about me? How will I perform? How would people see me? Who gives a fuck about me, man?
Yeah.
I mean, when we do a performance, when I do a workshop, when I do a speech, when I do a training, it's never about me. People come because they want to get something for themselves. They want to learn something. They're going to get motivated. They want to get some practical tools. They want to have discussions with the people there and exchange ideas. If there is a team, they want to, maybe there's some misalignments that we need to clear up. But nobody comes there for me.
Sure.
And that shifted, man. And when you shift, and as an entrepreneur, as a speaker, as a consultant, and you focus all your attention on the audience or your client, things are changing, man. Things are shifting. So anyway,
I did also like many times. Sorry. No,
No,
it's a failure that I did also like many times, like just focusing about myself, what I think, what I want from the call, but really, I mean, no one cares. I mean, really about your client, your listener. Try to understand them and really help them, and every other thing will come. And just trying to focus on that, I mean, that destroyed me like many times. So I really know what you are talking about. So, sorry, just continue.
oh no, no, man, that's a great point that you're making here. But fast forwarding from there, I just started knocking on doors. Um, I didn't have a name. People knew me as the movie guy, and I wanted to get established as the productivity guy, who's a speaker, who's a consultant. I did not have a lot of original content myself. On top of this, life is like a movie, little workshop, right? So it's been a journey now. What is it? 8 years later, 2016 to now, at 8 years, right?
Yeah.
It's been a journey with many ups and downs. It's a never-ending journey of up and downs. But as they say, like the kind of problems you're solving get bigger, but it not necessarily doesn't get easier. But yeah, I've been around the place. I've been traveling. I've done workshops and speeches and programs with. I think now I work with close to 600 organizations in 35 plus countries, in person, putting together programs, workshops, different experiences, team offsites, and it's just a blessing. We've wrote a couple of books. One of them is Perform: The Unsexy Truth About Startup Success,
Hmm.
and then another one, Perform in Times of Crisis. Um, and just like you, I enjoy a lot podcasting. Having a podcast is one of my favorite things. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I don't
Once a
understand.
week, you have people like the president of Starbucks, the founder of Reebok, like exceptional people that you can learn from. So that's kind of the short story, but feel free to ask me anything you want, brother.
No, it's very interesting. I mean, I would love to hear like more about like what's the craziest story you heard like on your speeches, for example, etc. Because usually people get emotionally involved when you're like speaking and you're telling them about their personal life. Life is a movie, and you can like go beyond, etc. And I remember that from Lisbon, a lot of people came to you after the event and telling you, okay, I can like share this and I can share this. What's like the craziest story you ever experienced?
It's a good question. I think I had many people cry. And you might say, "Oh, you make people cry, horrible." Like, actually, I feel really happy when I see somebody, just manage to connect with their emotions and let something go. That means that I really, the thing that we did touched them. Um, I had people come and share that they saw their, because we do this guided visualization, and you experienced it also in Lisbon, where I get people to close their eyes and to imagine themselves, the movie of their life, 3 to 5 years in the future, and all the details around it. And I guide them and I ask questions like, imagine a moment from the future that fills you with gratitude. And so those kind of questions inspire people to imagine. And I remember somebody told me, "Thank you so much, because I saw my future children." And it was so real. And now I know what I have to do. And this all those kind of stories, right? That's
Yeah,
um,
it's like very personal, very emotional ones. Yeah. No, I
just
can
last
totally
week.
relate.
Just last week I was in Vienna. I did 3 keynotes for an executive event, executive dinner. And actually, I finish up the whole thing with this visualization as well. And somebody came to me, and it's like I just wanted to share. When I closed my eyes, I saw myself winning Grammy awards. And by the way, this guy was a technical executive in a large organization. And he came and he was like, I saw myself. It's very clear to me. I didn't know about it before, but now I close my eyes and I saw this it was very clear. I'm like, okay, interesting. Talk to me about it. Lead me. So
Nice. So okay, from that point on, like I can totally like understand like you are the storyteller, so your story motivated you like to create let's say like a form of visualization, speak emotional speak for these people to help them like imagine their story and like get them a little bit forward. But you also like wrote 2 books, and I can imagine you wrote those books like because you interviewed a lot of people, heard a lot of stories. I mean, what are like the biggest, I don't know, like insights or learnings from writing like 2 books and like inviting 250 people, I think until now, like doing the podcast with them, or 200?
great question, man. So let me start there. When you were mentioning literally a quote or an idea that was shared to me by the founder of Reebok really came to my mind when you were asking the question. So you guys know Reebok, the sneakers company. In the 80s, they were actually #1 sports brand in the world. Not anymore, but they were. And I have this conversation with the founder of Reebok. I'm just, wow, this guy is a legend, right? And at some point, he shares, and I'm quoting, "Don't listen to too much advice, not even to me. I can't give you much advice, except believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. And if you've got the passion, you get there." And I think there's, I think many people need to hear that, because we're always looking for, oh, we need to hear something, or we need to learn. Well, the truth is, I think we have to, and that's probably the biggest learning for me, is like you gotta be constantly around the people that you want to be like. The reason I'm running the podcast, the reason I'm writing books and interviewing all these people, having mentors and going to conferences and hanging out with all the speakers, the reason is because I want to grow. I want to expand my operational system. I want to be better. I want to challenge my beliefs and get better. At the same time, the advice of the founder of Reebok is, nobody knows what's in your shoes. Nobody's in your shoes. So everybody can give you a great advice, but you gotta have the confidence to say, beautiful, that's not for me. I'm gonna do it my way. And one big game changer, talking about a big mindset shift, for me, came by listening to a video several years ago. There's an influencer, creator guy, photographer called Chase Jarvis. Have you heard about him?
No.
Okay, check him out. Chase has been in the industry for many years. He's a former photographer. He's still doing photography. He's writing books, have podcasts, CEO of Creative Life. So I was watching this video, and at the end of the video, he talks to a mentee of his. And it was kind of like a video after the video. Like the video finished, like, okay, hold on a second, let's share this little story. I'm like, oh, what is it? So this other guy says, well, a few years ago, I met Chase, and I was an up-and-coming photographer. I did my very best, like working really hard. Finally, I meet Chase, my hero, and I show him my photos. And he looks at them and is like, oh, that's cool, man. It looks good. Yeah, it's fine. But what's unique about it? What do you mean? Well, everybody can make these photos. You got to find what you're truly special and unique at. You got to emphasize on it, and you got to market the shit out of it. Right?
100%. Yes.
And what this guy went home, and he was devastated, because after a few years, he's following this guy, Chase Jarvis, and you meet your hero, and he tells you, this average, right? Like you gotta be special. So the guy's going home and he's like, man, what do I do? Because he wasn't the best photographer, he wasn't the best editor, he was really good, but he wasn't the best. He wasn't the best in any of these things. But then it clicked for him, and because he shared it, clicked for me too. He was like, wait a second. I'm not the best photographer, but I have experience and background in industrial design. Not many photographers probably have this. Okay, what else? I love extreme sports. Okay, I understand motion and movement. Okay, what else? And then he started stacking up all the different experiences that make him unique. And I was listening, I'm like, that's it, man. Because when I was in school, trying to be the finance guy, I had these hyper smart people that were always better than me in mathematics. I'll do my very best, and this guy from China comes and he's like a genius, right? Like, he's like, oh my God, I'll never compete with these guys. But then it's like, wait a second, I don't have to compete. Because as a movie guy, I'm probably not the best movie director, but I'm a movie guy who understands finance and budget, who comes from Eastern Europe, and meaning we're really good with making stuff up with no resources, right? Like, you know what I'm talking about. And then same thing as when I started my journey as a speaker. Initially, I wanted to be like Tony Robbins and Les Brown and Zig Ziglar and all these kind of exceptional speakers. But then I realized if you try to copy people, you're never going to be that good. What if
you're not going to be great? No.
What if you see yourself as a package of all your strengths, all your passions, your background, your networks? Like, you literally, like, after this conversation, after listening to this podcast, if you sit down, you get a piece of paper and you write down, all right, strengths. What am I good at? And then write it down. I'm good in copywriting. I'm good in leading people. I'm good in Facebook ads. I'm good in dun. All the things that I'm good at. Don't have to be the best of it. Just something that comes easy to you. You're talented. You're good at it. Okay. Passions. What am I excited about? I love going to podcasts. I love listening and learning. I love speaking at events. I love podcasting. Okay. Write them all down. Good. What else? What's my background? What background do I have? Well, I studied finance. I did this. I've traveled the world, being to many places. Okay. Experiences and backgrounds. Networks. Who are the people that I know? Okay. It's like, all right, well, I played for a football team, so I know these people. I've been in the media film industry. I know these media people. Like, I travel a lot. I know a lot of speakers. You write them down. And then you get a cup of coffee and you're reflecting on it. Like, okay, how do I make something unique out of it? So either choosing the direction, you know what I mean? Either choosing the direction, saying maybe I should try to be a speaker, or even if you decide to be a speaker already, how can I be a unique speaker? You know the concept of the blue ocean strategy?
No.
Oh man, you got to read this book. I'll send you some materials. Blue ocean strategy is this idea that most people are competing and they're in the red ocean, and the red ocean is red because it's full of, it's crowded. That's why it looks red. Blue ocean, there's no competition. And how do you create a blue ocean product or service? You need to offer, your offering should be so unique and special that it cannot be copied. So you're basically not competing. Like, if I say I'm selling video services, well, there's millions of video service providers. But if I create something like a unique offering, then I'm not competing. And if you want to be valuable at the marketplace, and I'm talking about speaking now, but it could be anything else. It could be if you're doing web pages. If you're doing web pages, WordPress web pages. I mean, everybody can do WordPress web pages. What's unique about it? What's your spice to it? Is it these crazy designs that you do with the marble designs of WordPress? Like, I don't know, something that's unique about you, and then you create an offering that it's very hard to copy because
Very
they need
personal.
you to be
Yes.
able to copy it.
I totally understand like the concept you are talking about, and I really understood like that in the last 1.5 years. But I'm struggling like exactly deciding like what can be unique in a service that everybody can really doing. For example, I come from the IT industry. When I go like to a company and say, okay, I can offer like IT services, IT consultant. So they are like comparing me with other services, and if they are much cheaper, they are going to go to the competitor. So I'm not unique. But if I changed my proposal and it's like, I don't know, something crazy as you like, I mean, they're gonna buy, and I know that, and I know that you can like charge like much higher prices. But what I'm struggling at is really like coming up with these, like personal like proposal or whatever. Is there like any way or strategy like to ask the right questions, etc., in your mind to come up with that?
I mean, let's get there maybe. What exactly are you selling? Is that IT? When you say what exactly is your service? What are you offering
Okay,
now?
let's take my example
Yep.
my story as an example. So I'm kind of a guy exactly what you mentioned. I tried like a lot of things. I have like my background in IT. I
Mhm.
led 2 startups like the product owner from the idea to the market. So I was like seeing how the development works, but I was also managing the team and talking to the investors, like and seeing the business side. So I'm not expert in the the programming side and not expert in that, but I really have the big picture inside, and I
Sure.
know like that I can like provide the value, although I have like the IT experience. So usually on the marketplaces, people look for expertise. Like, okay, we are looking for like some guy who had like 10 years experience in this industry, but they gonna tell this guy what to do. I don't like somebody telling me what to do. I like to be reshaping or shaping like the whole vision, or working with you on that, not working for somebody. So the kind of software development I would like to offer is like to create the concept with you. Like, is that like good for the business, for example, and create the concept of the software solution with you, and then like develop that, or like make other people
So what do people
yeah.
say when you share with them your vision? What is the
Uh,
response?
I mean, they say that I'm like the entrepreneurial product manager. Um,
Okay, but
I
are they
see my
interested in this
yeah.
type of service?
Sorry, the clients, you mean?
Yes, the clients.
Mm, I mean, usually they compare me like with other software, general software consulting or development agency.
No,
So
no,
they see
look,
me as
there's a couple of things here. So the first thing is, does the market want what you're offering? Because there might
hmm?
be some customers that they want you to deliver it. They're very clear what they want. They don't need any consulting.
Hmm.
Actually, they prefer if you don't. Like not you, but like generally the
Yeah,
development team. These are the vision, these are the features. Just go and deliver. There's some people that will like that.
yeah,
That's the reason I'm asking you. Like, do people actually? Do you think there is a market? And the way you can do that is by going and talking to 200, 300 people, potential customers, and ask them, guys, I just need some feedback. What I'm offering is, on top of the development, because I have a lot of experience as a product guy, this and that and that, these are the additional things that and this is why I'm charging a little bit more. Is that
yeah.
something you'll pay for? You go and you
Okay,
talk
this
to
is
100, 300 people, and then you understand that is there a market for that, or maybe they'll say, you know what, that is not exactly what we need, but we need this and this. And then you can kind of create an offering that is both satisfactory for you, but it's also satisfactory to them. And you can even ask them, my wording, my language, the way I position that does it make sense to you? So that's on the one side, right? Understanding whether there's market and packaging an offering, again, which is not just the usual development, but there's something on top of it. But I think the second thing comes with, can you create something that's yours? because now you're saying that you're offering your time and expertise to build something for other people for pay. The question is, can you create something yourself with that kind of thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
In which
No, I
direction
mean,
would be something that you prefer?
this is a thing that I cannot like answer, to be honest, at this moment, because I didn't make this discovery phase until now. I am aware of that, and actually, this is one of the goals I put for myself for December and January, to really like invest in this discovery phase, because I cannot just do what I want to do. I really have to understand like what the clients want, how they see that, what their feedback is, etc., and then reflect on that and create. Your picture is freezing. Can you see me?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
good.
Sorry.
Good.
I was like, I was not sure. Okay, no problem. Yeah, so I cannot answer the question, to be honest, right now. Maybe like in 2-3 months, I can tell you more.
I mean, look, I understand, and this is just something to think about. Like, just to give you an example, back in the time, we had the video production company. What we were really good at is bringing in people that were exceptional, like Hollywood quality people, and creating videos that were really high end. Like, they look expensive, they're nice, they just, wow, this is awesome. And we entered the market, and we were living in Aarhus in Denmark, so it's not even the capital in Denmark. And we started reaching out to agencies and direct clients and saying, we have this Hollywood looking amazing videos, let's work together. And the response wasn't so big. So what I did is I started asking people for coffee. I went to LinkedIn, like I went nuts. I was just like finding somebody, head of marketing, whatever. I'll be just, hey, we are new in town, we do these really cool videos, but we don't know how to go about the market, we don't understand it. Can I ask you for coffee, for lunch? I just need some feedback. So I'll go there and get my notebook, just write notes, ask questions. And what it turned out is we'll actually turn people off with this offering, because they look at it and they're like, this is amazing, but it's probably expensive. We were not that expensive. Like, we were actually very well priced. We're not cheap, but we're not expensive. We could afford it because we're not a big agency, and we were two guys that can bring all these freelancers for a good price. But we didn't communicate it, because we felt if we communicate with cheap, people will think, I don't want to work with these guys. Quite the opposite. The guy said, well, if you say somewhere budget-friendly, Hollywood-looking videos for your business, helping you to convert, whatever, I'll be more interested to talk to you. But I look at it, I'm like, immediately, it's great, it's expensive. I'm like, oh man, talk to the market, man.
I understand. I can totally relate, because when I saw the video you showed that on Lisbon, I was really amazed. That was really good. I would love to share it actually in the beginning of the podcast, if you can share it with me.
Yeah, sure, man. Sure, I'll send you the link. But I'm thinking exactly what you're saying now is like, we were not just video makers at the time.
Yeah,
we'll sit with the people and we'll try to understand what their business goals were and suggest a strategy and a video or set of videos, and also the distribution that can help them to reach their goals. And it's been a struggle for us back then to communicate that we are not just video guys, we're business guys that can build videos that can help you to grow. And again, some people don't want it. Some people have a very clear idea. They have an agency they're working with. They just need somebody to shoot the videos and edit them. So in your case, I think you got to figure that out.
Sure. I mean, you mentioned two things. I mean, the first thing, like, to figure out who are like the clients and what kind of message and service I would love to deliver, because I cannot like serve everybody, and I don't want to serve everybody, So a very, very clear message will resonate with the right clients, I think. And the first thing would be to understand the market and then define like really this personal unique message and work on that and just make it very, very clear. Because exactly what you said, I mean, I had that once. I mean, I was like talking to somebody, like a business guy, and I was like, okay, we offer this and this and this, and he was like, I don't have projects for you, and I said, okay, thank you for your time, blah blah blah. But then when I hanged up, I really thought, okay, I should have asked them, if I am saying right now I will work for free for you, would you find work for me? Probably yes. You know, as a business guy, if I am like an expert like something, I could, like, it's a free value. You would probably like find some work for me. So it's actually not the price. It's actually sorry, it's actually not that you don't have projects for me. It's probably the price, or it's like the way I am talking to you. It's, you know what I mean. So I have just to figure out like how to ask the right questions, how I what I'm communicating wrong, and do that. And as soon as I get that, it's just scalable, I think.
Yeah, I have a lot of conversations. If you already have, you know, clients that are more close to you, just set up Zoom calls and have an honest conversation and say why you're working with me. What were the factors that made you choose me? Is it the price? Is it the fact that I'm responsible and I reply on time? Like what are the most important things that made you work with me? And the same, if you got some rejections,
Mhm.
if you can talk to these guys and get some feedback on why they rejected you,
That would be the best.
yeah, like, was it the price? Was it the person you worked with before, you kind of know them already? Was it my offering was not structured well? And then you can get some good direction about how do you structure your positioning from here on.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. No, thanks a lot. But just back like to the story of your books and the
Sure,
podcast
man.
lessons, etc. Um, I mean, you wrote like these two books. You talk about a lot about like performance, like how to be productive, etc. Can you share like some tricks with me about the whole subject?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, look, like everything else, there's no universal formula about you need to figure that out for yourself, right? Being productive. But I'll share, there are a few more like general ideas that usually people don't follow, unfortunately. Um, in order to be productive, you got to be clear. What are you after? What do you have to do? And what are the things that distract you that you say no to? Um, and usually, I've done workshops and programs, as I mentioned, in more than 35 countries. Usually, somebody will raise their hand during a workshop and say, Stoyan, I don't have time to plan my time. I love all these tools and all these methods that you're sharing are great, but I can't use them because I don't have time to plan my time. And and it's always like making me smile. It's like, I wonder why. I'm just curious, like, why don't you have time to plan your time? Maybe you have not started planning your time and you're just going on with the day. You're easy to get distracted. Now you're all on the place. So what I would say is the first step is discipline. If you want to be more productive, you got to create some habits. Okay, let me place 20, 30 minutes in my calendar every single day. I usually do it at the end of the day. 20, 30 minutes in my calendar in which I'm going to reflect on the progress I did this day, and then I'm going to set the intention for the next day. And when I say the intention, I mean the expected results, the outcomes I'm planning to achieve the next day. So,
Sure.
okay, let
Be
me
able to
reflect.
measure that.
Yeah, like what happened today? I had a podcast, the Montrepreneur Podcast. Okay, how did it go? What can I do better next time? Cool. My team, was I a great leader delegating tasks to them? All the meetings, how did they go? What is the progress? All the stuff, right? Okay, reflection, good. Looking at my goals, looking at the KPIs, looking at the priorities. Okay, cool. How do I get the best out of tomorrow? Let me make a list. And usually people do a to-do list. If they do a to-do list, most people don't even do a to-do list. Last week I was in Austria at this event, 50 executives, top organizations. I just asked them how many are doing it, having a to-do list. 1/3 of them raised their hand. Not many, like, but okay, some people make a to-do list, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so distracted." Of course, man, you don't have a to-do list. It's not a rocket science. Just get a notebook, get your phone, get a spreadsheet, whatever. You gotta have one place, and then you have to unload all the things from your head to this specific system. In my case, it's a spreadsheet. Literally, it's a spreadsheet. I look at all the goals, I look at all the priorities and objectives, I look at all my meetings, and I'm like, okay, what do I have to do tomorrow? What needs to get done? Podcast. Okay, I need to prepare a little bit. I need to watch some episodes. Okay, cool. What else? I need to send these emails to these people. Cool. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Now I have a list of 40 things. Most people stop here, and then when the day starts, they start checking off. Podcast, check. Budget, check. Meeting with Ivan, check. The problem for me is it's not efficient. It's not effective. If I only have a to-do list, it's a to-do list. What I want to know is what is to be done, meaning what is the actual result. So I'm taking the time to identify the actual result. Instead of saying meeting with Ivan, I will say confirm the budget and define responsibilities for the different tasks we need to do. That's the outcome. Like, you gotta define the outcome, man. David
100%.
Allen, the author of GTD, Getting Things Done, he's very big on that. His whole methodology, GTD, probably the most recognized methodology for productivity in the world. He likes to say actions and outcomes are the zeros and ones of productivity. You gotta define what done looks like, and anything you do. Tomorrow I'll do sales. You can spend 14 hours doing sales, and nothing is done because you're procrastinating. There's nothing to be measured. I will be working on the blog post. No. Tomorrow I'll complete a 7-page blog post and publish it on these platforms. Good. And it's like, okay, how much time is going to take you? It's another thing people don't like to do. I don't know how much time it's going to take me, so I'm not going to put it in my calendar. Great idea. How about you say it's going to take me 2 hours and you actually get it done? And if you get it done for 2.5, then you got to move things around. But at least you have a goal. There's many researches that show you if you place something in your calendar. I learned that from Jade Papasan, the co-author of The One Thing, a great book. He said that if you place something in your calendar, you're 3 times more likely to get it done. Just by putting it from 9 to 10 instead of just it's a to-do list.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's the one thing. Create a discipline to be more intentional about your time. That's a
100%.
point.
I mean, there are like many 2 points. I was like reflecting all the time. I mean, you mentioned like the KPI thing. So just I have like a very clear defined goal, like what's the outcome of this task, and then have like a way to measure that. And I was reflecting the best time. There was like time in my life where I didn't have a lot of budget, so I had to get things done. So my goal was like to learn the German language. That was like 9 years ago. And I was actually I resonated a little bit with your story because I was also like working outside, like distributing newspapers, and I had time, so I was like putting the headphones and learning from German books, audiobook. And I was like, okay, I really didn't have time, so I had like to learn the language to get a better job. So I put, okay, like 30 words a day or 50 words a day or whatever. So I was really reflecting like each week, okay, how many words I really like achieved or whatever. And that brought me a lot, like much more. But there was like also like phase in my life where I just had like to do this. Yeah, I'm doing this time, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't have a way to measure that. And when I didn't have a way to measure that, I didn't know if I'm doing good or not. And having really this reflection helps you really a lot. I'm getting that right now because when I started with the podcast, I started to watch myself, how I talk and how I do with my body language, etc. And I was like, okay, I didn't notice that. I have to work on that. I have to work on that. And I was like, okay, but wait, this is just an example, like in my life. How if everything is in my life not getting the right analytics and you know what I mean? And this is a new mentality I'm trying to get in right now.
Yeah, too, man. I feel you. Um, it's only about getting better.
Yeah, 100%. No, sure. I really, really appreciate it. I don't know, like, do you have any other thing you'd like to share? Something personal, something? I don't have any question from my side. I really appreciate it.
Oh man, I'm good. Of course, if people, first of all, thank you for having me. If people enjoy the podcast, make sure to subscribe to the podcast, guys. You know, this guy's gonna go places. You want to follow his journey. You know, so much good energy. I appreciate it. And of course, if you're interested in this type of conversations, you can also check out my podcast called Productivity Mastery. Similar format. You know, I'm inviting entrepreneurs, people like unicorn founders, best-selling authors. We had Guy Kawasaki recently, like leaders from world-class leaders talking about leadership, productivity, entrepreneurship. So make sure to check it out. And if you wanna ask me anything else, feel free to connect on LinkedIn, Instagram. You can find me by the name. That's it. I mean, just do your best, show up. Keep your energy high, and hopefully this conversation was meaningful to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Stoyan. I will I will do all the links in the description. Thanks a lot for sharing, and I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, I wish you like a very, very productive time and a very, very productive week. It's Monday. Okay, thanks a lot, man.